Howdy, 6th grade. This afternoon, or this morning rather, we talked and reviewed a little bit about lines and the different types of lines. We also reviewed some different types of angles. And so now we're going to use our knowledge of angles to do a couple calculations. So here we go. Let's get that name title and get to work. So the notes you need today for angle pairs are that lines are named with 2 points on the line. So if you ever see a line, you can name it by just naming 2 points. 2 points determine a line is what we actually say. So if you see this line and it's got points A, B, and C on it, you can name this line AB or BC or AC. And we show that it extends infinitely in both directions. So we're just naming lines with 2 points. Now angles are actually named with 3 points, and that's because an angle is made up of 3 points. And the important thing we need to remember here, and this should again be review, is that it's important the order in which we say the angles. So if this is point E, then the angle we have here, we have 2 angles actually. We have EBC, angle EBC, and on the other side we have angle EBA. And what's noticeable on both those sections is that we're kind of tracing the angle as we name it. So I start at E, and then I go to the vertex, which is that center point of the angle where the 2 rays extend from. So there's 2 rays, and we talked about those 2 rays that make up our angle, and B is the starting point of both those rays, so we name it in the middle. It's called the vertex. The next note is that complementary angles add up to 90 degrees, and they make a right angle. We know about those, so I like to remember this. How do you know that complementary means they add up to 90 degrees? Well, complements, spelled differently, are the right thing to do. If you're thinking about saying something nice or something mean, well, giving a compliment is usually the right thing to do. Although it's spelled differently, it's a little trick to remember. Whereas supplementary angles add to 180 degrees. So you can remember that complementary goes with 90 or right angles, but supplementary go to 180 degrees, and they make a straight line. Something we can kind of visualize there is if you have this straight line here, supplementary angles would create this straight line. There'd be 2 angles that add up, and together these 2 arcs, these 2 angles create that straight line when you add them together. So there we go. These are the notes you need. We're going to actually put them to practice with a few example problems. So let's start with number 1. It says draw lines AB and XY that meet at point K. Okay. Name 4 pairs of supplementary angles. Okay, we can do this. So draw lines AB. So we'll just, again, name 2 points on this line, A and B, and lines X and Y, or lines XY, I should say, sorry. And the last thing we said is that they meet at point K, so I just know that they connect right there. Now, what are pairs of supplementary angles? So, supplementary, what angles are supplementary? This little angle symbol we use. Well, I know there's AKX, that's an angle, AKX, and what's supplementary with AKX? What makes a straight line with that angle? Well, AKY. Together these 2 make the straight line XY. So AKY. But there's another supplementary angle with AKX. What would that be? Well, I can make this the line XY. If I put AKX and AKY together, then I'm going all the way around making this straight line. But if I go AKX and XKB, angle XKB, then I made a different straight line. Another set of 180 degrees. Let's try another set of supplementary angles by doing BKY, angle BKY. And again, we're going to be able to find 2 sets of supplementary angle pairs here. BKY, and maybe you can start looking and see, what do you see? what makes a straight line when you combine it with BKY? What will add up with under 180 degrees right here? Well, YKA will do the trick. And also, I'm sorry, my handwriting's so bad, BKY and BKX, that'll make the other straight line. So we got 4 pairs there of supplementary angles. We're just using our knowledge of supplementary angles. Together they make a straight line. They add up to a straight line. Those angles, when you combine them, will show a straight line, or 180 degrees. We're going to move on to another example problem. This one says, find the missing angle measure. And this is a straight line as well, so I know that these 2 angles, when put together, must equal what? If they're supplementary angles or a straight line, they have to equal 180 degrees. So I know that first angle measure is 127 and 1/3. I'm going to write this as an equation. Some people are just going to say 180 minus 127 and 1/3, and that's fine. That would find your answer. I'm going to show a little equation. We could also say, I know that 127 and 1/3 plus angle YQT equals 180 degrees. This is just equation solving. I'm going to draw my scales of justice. I'll look at my variable. It's this angle measure that I don't know, and I'll subtract 127 and 1/3 from both sides. Now, some people are going to say, well, I know that if I'm trying to subtract a bigger mixed number, or a mixed number with a bigger fraction, from a number that doesn't have a fraction, I need to borrow. And we can make this 179 and 3/3, or we could just kind of do it, we can do it mentally. We can add up. We'll say angle YQT is equal to, well, how could I add up? Well, I know that to get to 130, I need to add 2/3 would get me to 128. 2 and 2/3 would get me all the way to 130. And I need to add 50 more to get to 180. So that'd be 52 and 2/3 degrees. Again, if you wanted to write out some different sort of work, it would get you the same answer, but doing that mental math and adding up can be really useful sometimes. Let's look at one more example problem together. This says if angle JKL and angle KLM are complementary and angle JKL measures 19.04 degrees, what is the measure of angle KLM? And that should have a question mark at the end, so I'll just put it in there right now. Okay, so let's draw this out. I know that they're complementary, so that should mean that they're going to create a right angle. And that does not look like a right angle because I can't draw, so I'm sorry. And I'm drawing one of these a lot, tried to make it a little bit thinner, so because we know it's only 19 and 4/100 degrees. That's JKL. So if I'm going to name that, it should be JK, again the vertex in the middle, L. And then my other one, my other angle is L. Oh, these need to have the same vertex, so I made a mistake there. It should be LKM. So if I'm going to draw LKM as well, LK, this is the complementary angle because together they make 90 degrees. They make a right angle when you put them together. So I know that 90 degrees, I'm going to subtract 19 and 4/100 to find the answer for the angle or the angle measure of LKM. And to do this, I need to borrow because we don't have any hundredths. 4 from 0 is not 4. We need to borrow. This becomes an 8. Gives us 10 ones, but then we need to take one of the ones. So we have 9 ones. 10 tenths, but we're going to borrow 1, and we'll get 10 hundredths. 4 from 10 is 6, 0 from 9 is 9, 9 from 9 is 0, 1 from 8 is 7. So 70 and 96/100 degrees. So we got an answer there. Hopefully that made sense. This is complementary. They add up to 90 degrees or a right angle. And hopefully this angle measuring or angle naming system is making sense as well, with the vertex being the central letter. So there we go. That's 3 examples. I'm going to leave you with some to work on your own. And here they are. First one, draw angles RTY and YTW, complementary to each other. Second one says if one angle is 17 degrees, what is the measure of a complementary angle? And then for the third one, it says find the missing measurement. So that'd be angle SAL is missing. So you're going to have to find that out if you know that LAP is 61 degrees. Best of luck. I'll see you tomorrow.